Hello. It's like a little, just in case you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like, okay, we're here.
Are you hearing that echoing back? Oh,
No.
hang on. Okay. All right. We're good. I had YouTube pulled up because, I really like to watch myself. Well, I'm glad to know we're live on YouTube. Hey, everybody. Welcome to What's Poppin' in Pop Culture. This is a segment by KJ today that is powered by Geek Vibes Nation and also Conquest Journals. And of course, we have our wonderful entertainment correspondent, Tia from Geek Vibes Nation. Thanks for keeping the Tia the Dragon from New Jersey.
Yeah, at this point, just go with it.
Listen, I have a little news on that later in the show. If you are like, why is Tia the Dragon from New Jersey? I'm going to catch you all up. Okay. So stick around for that. Even if you're like, you know what? This is the most boring pop culture report I've ever been a part of. Stick around for Tia the Dragon from New Jersey update. I've got patches behind the scenes watching your comments, and he's watching you, so you be careful. I don't know why I said that.
Is he Santa Claus?
You better watch out. No, because they don't want to grow a beard, and I don't want patches with a beard.
Right.
That's
no
a whole other
hair.
thing to you. Hello, Leanne, checking in, crew number 10. Yes, I see Michelle is ready to talk about Umbrella Academy. I haven't watched any of the new season, but we are going to be talking about it. And we've got Tom Hopper coming up. We've got Patrick Warburton coming up. We have Katee Sackhoff coming up. It is going to be a star-studded What's Poppin' in Pop Culture. So I guess if you want to, Tia, just, you're the entertainment reporter. You just take over and tell me what's poppin'.
I did want to say really quick it just reminds me of someone on a red carpet. It's like, it's a star-studded event here, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. I mean, the little graphic that we made makes it look so fancy. Like, ooh, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very sophisticated pop culture report for you.
Well, listen, I'm ready to dive in when you are. So let's get to the first story, right?
Oh my gosh. Speaking of diving in, let's do it.
Well, I want to say our last What's Poppin' in Pop Culture, we talked about the Olympics opening. Let's talk about the Olympics closing. Woo! And as you can see, Tom Cruise made an appearance driving that motorcycle with the Olympic flag. I'm sorry. I know that it was the Olympic flag, but it just screamed America to me the whole time.
So, I'd love to, please comment and as much as you can tonight, because we want you to be a part of the show. I want to get your thoughts. We generally, Tia, don't watch the closing ceremonies, right? And so we happen to have it on and live. Like, I know they did the replay at like 7:00. We happen to have it on live, and I looked over and I'm like, is Tom Cruise standing on top of the building?
He is crazy. The fact that he's still doing his own stunts.
Let's bring Patches in for this, because he was the one that was flipping out about it, and then he actually did that dive off of that stadium, right? Like, that was him doing the stunt.
That was 100% him doing it live. Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
that without question.
That's insane. So he jumps off the stadium and he dives down, and then he's got the flag and he hops on the motorcycle like he's in Top Gun again, and he takes off.
It was just like, it almost felt surreal. Is this happening? Is this the Olympics?
I had a moment where I was like, I'm sorry, Paris, but America is stealing your thunder. Like, we didn't even wait until 2028. Because did you see, Tia, the entire, so like what happened when he drove out of the stadium and the entire closing ceremony shifted to LA?
Yes.
Yeah,
It was
I
like
mean,
100%. Like, and I do have to say again, because I mentioned when we were talking about the opening, right? I love the Olympics. Nothing makes me feel more patriotic than the Olympics. And and America is leaving with 126 medals.
I
Just
know.
saying.
I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
But
And then I was like, and also, we're going to hijack your closing ceremonies. Now, again, we don't usually watch them, so I don't know how much the next country gets. But when we were like, okay, we're going to LA. Now Snoop Dogg's in LA. There's Dr. Dre. How about the Red Hot Chili Peppers? I was like, is anybody still in Paris? Like, did they leave the stadium? Are we just done here? And it's just going to be America for the rest of the ceremonies?
So the closing ceremony, so in the past, it used to be that was when the next country was announced.
Mm-hmm.
We now know, I think, up until like the next 10 or something years of what the countries will be. But in the past, it used to be like, and boom, like when the Summer Olympics were announced for Rio de Janeiro, that was announced at the closing ceremony. So they definitely get a spotlight, but I just feel like you get Tom Cruise in, you're hijacking things.
Yeah. And we saw him, they kept going to him sitting in the crowd for the women's gold medal soccer game. And so it's like, oh, cool, Tom Cruise is there. Never once was I like, oh, he is going to steal the show at the closing ceremony.
What was one post saying? It was something, it was like, this is Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise in the most Tom Cruise way humanly possible.
It's like, are you promoting a movie coming out? Like, what's that?
Yeah. Well, I think, haven't they wrapped the last Mission Impossible?
Yes. Yeah. And Mission Impossible
it showed up on Peacock as well.
So all the Mission Impossibles are now on Peacock, and there's some of the plot of the next Mission Impossible is set in Paris. So it all kind of came together. We should have seen this coming.
Can I have a confession? The only Mission Impossible that I've ever really seen was the one with Henry Cavill in it. And I only watched it because Henry Cavill was in it.
If it makes you feel better, I think I've only seen the first one.
Okay.
Like, we were discussing this, like, well played Mission Impossible publicity team, because Patches and I were literally, as this was happening, and the ad came up, like, all the Mission Impossibles are now streaming on Peacock. And we were like, you know what? We should probably just watch all those movies. So very good PR team. Yep. You did it. The marketing team over there, brilliant. We'll be catching up so we can see the last, I don't know, what are there? I mean, there's like 50 of them. I don't even know how we're going to catch up on all the Mission Impossible.
Okay, let's not get crazy. I believe the official count right now is 43. All right, let's.
If I can take a quick moment, my mom's in the chat. Hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, Mom.
She also says, watch them all. They are good.
Okay.
So there you go.
I really don't know why we didn't, other than, I mean, I think we've all kind of had a weird relationship with Tom Cruise, so I think there was just
it's
time
the couch jumping, it's
so
fresh in our minds.
Which, look, man, I'm going to tell you, I think, if you go and watch, which you're going to see a clip of my interview with Katee Sackhoff coming up, but I think I was jumping up and down in this chair while I was like having a Tom Cruise moment while I was
KJ's like, I understand now, all these years later.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yep.
Really quick, sorry. There's a commercial now with, I believe, Tom Brady in it, where it's like for something, I forget what, I think it's Hertz or something, I don't know. Either way, in the commercial, he's like jumping up and down on the couch. And I looked at Paul and I go, are people even going to get this reference? This is like 20 years old at this point.
And that's so weird to think about. Yeah,
I know.
It sure is. But listen, I'm doing it. I'm like jumping up and down while I'm like, Katee Sackhoff. I'm like, oh my God, I'm jumping up and down like Tom Cruise on Oprah's couch. Like it's just, I think it's just part of pop culture. Like generations to come will be like, I'm jumping up and down like Tom Cruise on Oprah's couch.
That's just how it is, you know, when we get that excited about things.
Yes. All right. What else is popping, Tia?
Yes, I think we're talking
bye
about
patches.
Bye patches. Really quick, we're talking about Umbrella Academy, right? That's the next one.
We're talking about Umbrella Academy. We're talking about Umbrella Academy. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so our next What's Poppin' on Culture is the Umbrella Academy dropped the fourth and final season. The fourth and final season on Netflix. Only 6 episodes, which is a little sad to me. You know, we had to wait so long, but whatever.
Yeah.
But this is it, right?
Yes.
Some people are getting a little confused where they think this is like a Netflix typical where they're going to release like a few episodes and then some months down the line they're going to nope, this is it. 6 episodes. This is done. It ends conclusively. This is it. I have not personally watched it, so I cannot say how the season is going. But as you saw in the thumbnail, that was Tom Hopper. And I have a confession. Yes. I really like Tom Hopper's character Luther in it. And there was so much hate for Luther in season 1 online when it first came out. And I was not appreciating it. I'm glad that people have enjoyed the character more. And I am looking forward to seeing his character as well as everyone else's in the 4th and final season.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know how anybody, I feel like Luther's character of all of them, I mean, they've all given us reasons to be like, oh, gross, I'm rethinking whether or not I like you. Luther, there's never been a moment. I mean, he's made some like dumb decisions, but
I think the big thing was that because remember in season 1 and in season 2, Luther obviously had a thing for Allison. It's like, they're siblings, but maybe I've just been watching too much House of the Dragon.
All right. Listen, incest has become they're not we accept in our entertainment.
Luther and Allison aren't even technically related. So.
Right.
No. But either way, I loved their dance segment in season 1 was so great. So I don't know, out of everyone in Umbrella Academy, Luther and Klaus are just my favorite.
Yes. Dave says Tom is hilarious in the first episode of the new season. I started rewatching season 3 so that I could like catch up on it. And you know how sometimes you go back to a show and you're like, I know I watched this.
Yes.
But I'm really bad with this. Like I can watch a movie 3 or 4 times and be incredibly entertained again and be like, I kind of knew what was happening, but also I didn't remember a lot of it. I thought I was like, okay, 8 episodes. And I was thinking it was done. And then it kept going. And I'm like, I seriously am at a point right now where I'm like, I don't know that I actually finished Umbrella Academy. There's a big part of my brain that went dark because it's like no recollection whatsoever. I'm like, but I'm enjoying it. So I've got like, was it 13 episodes? Season 3 or 10? Maybe it was 10.
I want to say it was 10, but I would suggest. So my friend Kelly, who also is an associate over at Geek Vibes Nation, she just did a rewatch of all the seasons of Umbrella Academy, and she suggested doing that as well. She said that everything kind of had a lot of clarity then going into the final season.
Yeah, that's what I want. So I think I have one more episode left of season 3, and then I'll be watching season 4. The other realization I had as I was rewatching season 3 was that I interviewed Tom Hopper 2 years ago. That's how long we've been waiting for Umbrella Academy for a new season. And I was texting Tia, and I'm like, hey, guess what? I forgot I had this interview. Now I did it was one of the very early KJ Today Show episodes. I played a couple clips of Tom, but he was on the show. He had called in to talk to me about this movie, this rom-com that he had out that was about it centered a lot around cats. So I was like, oh, I'm talking to Tom Hopper and I'm talking about cats. This is going to be great. The announcement had just come out. So I've got a clip from Tom Hopper, and this is him like literally finding out, just like we were, that like he still gets to be Luther. Being a fan of you from Umbrella Academy, any hopes that you have for Luther's future before the show comes to an end?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because, I mean, we end up knowing as little as you guys do as fans of the show as we find these things out. Like when we shot the end of that season last year, we were like, what does this all mean then? Like, what's going on here? I hope he's not too down in the dumps. I hope he's not too miserable if Explode isn't there. But apart from that, I always keep a very open mind, because no matter what you do in terms of trying to guess what's going to happen, as you can see from the beginning of season 3 with the dance and the fight and the way that all went, there's just no way you can guess which way Steve Blackman's going to take this show.
I just could listen to him all day.
I was going to say, and I'll make this comment again for one of our other stories moving forward in this episode, but I am just always so surprised how good non-Americans can mask their accents, because you forget, oh shoot, that's right, he's
Yeah.
I mean, just hearing that, I was like, oh, that's right. But that was a great interview, KJ, that you did. I did the transcript for it for GVN, and it you could tell that it was from 2 years ago, because he's saying like, oh, I don't know what's happening, in it or anything like that. So, but it's just so great, and I think it. I don't know, it was by chance that you discovered that you did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was like, I did talk to Tom Hopper. Did I ever put that on YouTube? And then I literally went to my own YouTube channel and was scrolling through, and I'm like, nope. I never posted that interview. Well,
the great thing about Tom Hopper is he is in an episode of Game of Thrones in the 7th season. He does not play a very long-lasting character, but if you want to see him in Game of Thrones, he has a great name in it.
Yes, he does. And also, the interview is up now on the KJ Today YouTube channel. Hopefully, you're watching us there, and you will subscribe and give us a like. But he talks about his time, because he was and. Looking back, he was the first person that I ever talked to that had any role in Doctor Who. He was in one episode, but he was in the first episode with Matt Smith and Kieran Gillen. So it was like a pivotal episode. And I remember when we started watching Umbrella Academy, we were like, that's Jeff from Doctor Who. So he talks a lot. He talks about, being a part of Doctor Who. He talks about what you didn't hear in that clip. He shares, his thoughts on, like, he had no idea there was going to be so much like dancing in Umbrella Academy, and his thoughts on that. And he also talks a lot about working with cats. So it is a freaking enjoyable interview. I really had a great time listening to it. It was like I was like somebody else had interviewed him, and I wasn't there, and I was just getting to enjoy it.
Oh, that's good though. Everyone definitely make sure that you check it out. It really was, and he seemed like a really sweet guy. But you always seem to have this great relationship with anyone that you speak to, so it's always enjoyable to watch your interviews.
Oh, thank you. That the ones that I don't, that you never see them. I'm like, well, that was terrible. That's never ever been the light of day. So anyway, I'll be like, yeah, that guest canceled. They had a scheduling issue. A scheduling
so-
issue, as I'm never scheduling that interview to go public. But
So
no.
now you guys know that if KJ's promoting an interview and it doesn't pop up, there's a reason.
There's a reason it's not popping.
Oh, that was a good one. Look at you.
So no pressure, Tia, but is the Tom Hopper interview, is that posted on Geek Vibes Nation yet?
So I just did the transcription today. I let Kanan and Dylan know. I have not checked to see if it's officially on the GVN website, but if not today, definitely tomorrow it'll be up.
Okay. I just wanted to check because I am actually a person who, I don't know if this makes me old, but I actually like to read interviews. Like sometimes I don't have time. I don't have time to be listening, or I have something going on, but I can be like, I can see the quotes and I can like get it in and then watch the interview later. So I actually really appreciate that geekvibesnation.com is carrying some of my celebrity interviews because I go and read them. Not just mine. I like read yours.
No, absolutely. And it's funny. I think this is a good transition to the next What's Poppin' story that we got going on, because I will have your Patrick Warburton interview up very soon. Listen, if you don't know who Patrick Warburton is, he's in a million things, so I can't help you if you don't know what he is. But the clip that you saw from that, and his very debonair mustache and everything, is for an upcoming movie called The Duel that is coming out this Friday, the 16th. And the big thing, obviously, is that it is starring Dylan Sprouse. If you guys remember the Sprouse twins, they were in that one Disney show. What was it? The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. That was, I was a little too old by the time that came out, but the Sprouse brothers are getting in. I believe Colin Sprouse was in that Lisa Frankenstein movie.
You have Dylan and you have Cole.
Cole. Sorry.
Yes.
Cole.
That's okay.
That's how I feel old when I think like the kids. And I was like, okay.
Yes. And, Cole was the one that was in Riverdale. So yes.
But this one, The Duel, has Dylan Sprouse and everything. I mean, you were saying, KJ, it's a pretty stacked cast. And I mean, again, Patrick Warburton has been in everything. If you don't know, he was in The Emperor's New Groove. He plays Joe on Family Guy. I can go on about things that he's been in. Like that man gets work.
Seinfeld, Rules of Engagement. I mean, that's just
pretty sure he was in what was it? 2.5 Men, anything really he's in,
Men in Black movies. Like, I mean, he's amazing. And what I loved about this, when we booked the interview, I didn't realize, I'm like, Patrick Warburton, 100% yes, right? I didn't realize that it had all of these Indiana connections. So, and then Tia and I ended up having a really awkward, interesting exchange about Patrick Warburton. So before we go on the tangent of the weird way I ended up talking to Patrick Warburton, let's hear from him and these Indiana connections, because I'm here in Indianapolis. Tia's out in New York. She doesn't care that this movie was made in Indiana, but I do.
Hello, KJ. How are you?
It's so great to hear your voice. And, we're here in Indianapolis, which you were just here a couple days ago for the world premiere of The Duel.
By the way, the best premiere I've ever been at in my life, that big, beautiful theater. We were full. We had the orchestra outside. They delivered us in the classic cars. I was in an old Vet. I think it was a 58 Vet. But love Indianapolis. We had a great time shooting there. And it was special because it was during COVID, so a lot was shut down. But we were all in a bubble. And the cast, which meant that, listen, we all COVID tested every morning. But, at night we could all go out and do, a little karaoke and drink together in a barn, because we were allowed to, I guess.
Yeah, he said it had been like, years since they had filmed it. So it was a little bit weird for him to revisit. But they did. Tia, I'm like, wait a second. Like, you were downtown like 20 minutes from my house having this premiere and I didn't know. Like, there wasn't a press release like, hey, y'all, guess what? Then I went and looked and I was like, oh, there was a press release. I just wasn't included on it. I like, rude.
Very rude, KJ. I would be up in arms for that. You're literally right there.
I know, but it's fine. You know what would have happened to you? I would have been like, I'm such an introvert. I want to be invited. I don't actually want to come. Okay. That's on a Sunday night. Are you kidding me? I'm going to be in my pajamas with my cats. You want me to dress up and go downtown? That's ridiculous.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
So, yes, but an invite would have been nice. Okay.
Just to feel included.
Right. But I hope that you are not feeling any resentment that I got to interview Patrick Warburton and you didn't.
No, so this is the thing, right? Like some agents, right? They put out a massive press release email. Oh, interviews are available, so you get really excited. Ooh, Patrick Warburton. Mm-hmm. So I got the email that said, do you want to interview Patrick Warburton?
Well, remember, Kanan sent it to both of us and was like, this is for the two of you. And so then I was like, oh, well, I just let you answer because I'm like, I just started at Geek Vibes. I'm not going to be like, suck it to you. I'm taking Patrick Warburton. So I didn't say anything.
And I emailed the agent like, hi, yes, I would be interested. When's Patrick available? Never heard back. And then suddenly KJ's like, oh.
Well, because my interviews come through a different channel. So they're being booked through basically radio and podcast junkets is what they call them. And so I sometimes I'm doing interviews now for Geek Vibes Nation, but like my Katee Sackhoff interview, most of the stuff that you're seeing comes through a producer that I work with. So, Tia, I had remembered you had messaged me and been like, hey, I haven't done an interview in a bit. Are you okay if I do this Patrick Warburton thing? And I was like, yeah, have at it. It's fine. I actually have interviewed him before, which was really cool that he was like, KJ, it's good to be back. I'm like,
you can tell he's a schmoozer, he knows how to work a crowd.
But then Tia's sitting over there in like the land of no response. Like, I guess I'm not going to get to interview this Patrick Warburton guy. And I get the email from my producer and I'm like, so I'm going to be interviewing Patrick Warburton.
But it's honestly fine because it happens all the time. Either you don't hear back or, they give you the runaround of, okay, it's this and that, but then like never, or they want to reschedule a ton, even though you're like, I took off work or blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, sorry, can't, let's reschedule. And then you're like, okay, when can you reschedule? And then they never. So anyway, it's a whole thing. I think you got a taste of that when you did a few of our interviews for us.
It is so different. Like literally my interviews are like, you have a 7-minute window. And when they say they're coming to you at 7:31, that you are on the phone with that celebrity at 7:31 and at 7:38, they are hanging up on you if you're not done. Like, so I'll be like, I put it on my schedule and I'm like, all right, for 8 minutes, I'll be talking to this celebrity at this exact time. These interviews that you guys do, it's kind of a suggested time. You might be on a Zoom call for 2 hours and we'll let you know.
It really is. I was telling KJ this earlier. I just did a press junket today for it's called Watchmen Chapter 1. It's an animated movie that's now out on digital. Okay. And it was like, okay, you get to speak to the director at this time, and then you'll speak to 2 of the talents and everything. Come at this time. I came at like 1:35, did not speak to the director for like an hour, then like had to hang up, come back and everything an hour later. Still was sitting there for about another hour. before they're like, okay, Tia, it's your turn, go. And I'm like, I'm technically like working.
Yeah. And you know what? While we're on the subject of this, I have a clip. So the afternoon that I spent waiting to talk to Meg Donnelly, who is from the Zombies movies. She's a singer. She was the young Mary Winchester in the Winchesters show. I mean, this was just like, this came to me from, from Kanan over there at Geek Vibes Nation. And I'm like, absolutely. But it was 4 people you were going to interview. And again, I'm like, I'll have 7 minutes with this one and this one. And that's totally fine.
No. Never.
I was on this call for 2.5 hours, and of course, Meg was last. Like, the person I wanted to talk to was last, but it was totally worth the wait. And you know what? I get to tell her because, like, I would say a month ago, I would not have been like, "Oh my God, I'm going to be talking to Meg Donnelly," but my summer changed all of that.
Nice to meet you too. I love the picture of Darth Vader. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So that's Darth Vader, and he's got a little white cat. So I have 7 cats, and that one looks like my little Johnny Storm.
That's so cute. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just watched Star Wars for the first, like, all of them in order for the first time. Like, I just watched it. So now I'm like,
It's okay that you just got into Star Wars, because I was going to tell you, Meg, I literally this summer, my nieces and nephews demanded that I catch up on zombies. And so we have been having movie and sing-along parties once a week all summer long with you.
oh, hey, tell them I say hi.
That made me the coolest aunt ever. That was totally worth it.
I mean, she seems so sweet, right? Like, you really have to appreciate when you have a talent that is just like that nice and energetic, and then even offers like a compliment to you.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I was so mad because at the end of the interview, we actually had a tiny bit of time left. And I was like, why didn't I go? Because I wanted to talk to her about Crisis. That was what she was calling in for. She's the voice of Supergirl in the trilogy that is now all out. And when I hung up, I was like, God, I should have asked her like what character she'd want to be in Star Wars. Like, I should have gone back. I can't believe I forgot to talk to her about Star Wars. But to my defense, I'd been on a Zoom call for 2.5 hours. And I was like, I really got to feed my cats. Like, I got to go. So, hello, Meg.
And it's definitely, it's a pressure when you do those press junkets, because then they're like, all right, we're messaging you in the chat at the side and everything. Like today, so I spoke with Katee Sackhoff and Titus Williver. And
you
so
Katee Sackhoff too?
Yeah.
I have a clip coming up. Did you get to be on camera with her?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
So on the side, it's like, the talent is talking, and it's like the person who's obviously running the press junket saying in big, wrap it up. And it's like, they're talking. I'm not even the one talking. They're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. I have learned in my interviews, if I'm on like a timed one, I'll pay attention to how long it takes them to answer the first question, so that I know when to ask the last question.
Yes.
So that, like, if there's somebody that's like, 30 to 45 seconds, but if they're giving me 2-3 minute answers and I've got, a minute left to go, I'm like, okay, well, thank you so much, because I don't want to get yelled at and hung up on. So bye.
Some of these press junkets are really good where you can get like 10 to even 15 minutes with a talent. A lot of these, like today, are like you have 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And one time I interviewed JB Smooth for a Quibi show. Remember that freaking app?
Oh,
and everything?
yeah. Yeah.
But he was paired with someone, but I never got to ask that person a question because he literally monopolized the entire 5 minutes, which he's great. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, ooh, I feel bad. I did the Fallout press junket. I didn't get to speak to Kyle MacLachlan, which I was very upset about.
Ah.
But everyone who was in the press junket said that like he is good. Like he's very nice, but he
Mhm.
knows that you only have 5 minutes, so he doesn't rabble on or anything. He's just like, yeah, da da da. So you could get like a lot of questions in him in 5 minutes. So if you've ever
Yeah.
spoken to Kyle MacLachlan, or if you want to and never get the chance, just to let you
I
know
would
he's
love
pretty
to.
good at it.
Okay. Well, good, because that's what I get, right? I get 7 to sometimes I get 10 minutes. And because I'm not like one of the people on the tour that is taking them live or like a news talk that's like, okay, like they have their commercial breaks they have to hit and stuff. If they're off schedule, he'll be like, like Jenny Garth, when I had her on the show a couple weeks ago, they were super early. And so I'm just sitting in the Zoom. I'm usually in like maybe 10 minutes early. So he'll be like, you know what, you could have 15 or 20 minutes because she's running early or the next one canceled. So sometimes I get more, but if it's a regularly scheduled program, I have 7 minutes. It's like 7 minutes is hard to build a rapport and then like get into what they want to talk about. So it's a skill. It's a skill
very much
I'm still working on. Okay, while we are talking about, thanks to Meg Donnelly for bringing up Star Wars, we've got a lot of Disney news coming out because there are big conventions going on. And we did get, the announcement officially that there's going to be a Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out. So that is exciting. And I did, while Katee was... the reason she was calling in to talk to me, Tia, was to promote her podcast, which, by the way, is really good. Like, I know every celebrity has a podcast now, but her podcast is so enjoyable. She's so much fun. But I did have a chance to ask some questions, and I have to thank Stacia for this one. I've got the Star Wars question you need to ask Katee because it drives me crazy watching the show. Is it Bo-Katan or Bo-Katan?
It's funny. Drives me nuts too. What a great question. It's Bo-Katan. People try to class her up. It is the difference. You know what this is the perfect example of? Brianna's and Brianna's.
Mm-hmm.
And I have got friends who are Brianna and friends who are Brianna, and it's spelled the same way. And it drives me crazy because I get so screwed up and I don't want to screw up their name. It's their name for heaven's sake.
Right.
So, but I think that, you can't classy her up. It's Bo-Katan, like she may be royalty, but she's identifiable royalty.
And that drives me crazy too, because it's different. I'm watching the show and I'm like, what's the proper way to pronounce it? And sometimes it's Bo-Katan and sometimes it's Bo-Katan. And it's like, you can't decide on set what it is. It's so weird. But now we have I can sleep better at night because I know that it is. And I don't know if you saw me. I got excited like I won a prize because I was right. It's Bo-Katan. I'm like, yes, I win. I knew it.
Well, it's so funny because I think I've talked about it and I won't take up too much time and everything, but it's like I'm like a recent real big Star Wars nerd, right? Mm-hmm. Like I grew up, obviously I watched the prequels, I've seen the original, I've seen the movies as they gone out, but as far as watching the Clone Wars, watching Rebels, really, really getting into it. Now I'm such a nerd where I'm literally listening to the audiobooks and everything. But it's I remember when we got into the Mandalorian season 2 and Bo-Katan came and everyone was like, this is huge. Katee Sackhoff is literally playing live action, the character that she's voiced for years. And I'm like, I don't know who this character is because I hadn't watched Clone Wars yet.
Yeah.
But then when I went and watched Clone Wars, I'm like, oh, okay. I see it.
I want to thank Leanne for a little bit of her own What's Poppin'. So she's in Texas, and they are shooting for 1923, like she's driving home, and she's driving past Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren's trailers. So we've been waiting. She had posted that in the Kind of Nerdy Network. So we've been waiting to get updates from her on if she had any star sightings.
Thank you, Leanne. That's a good one.
Oh, she says she loved your Geek Vibes recording on Star Wars, Tia.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I had a recent video where I just did my thoughts on the Sith Lords, because that's how much of a nerd I'm becoming with Star Wars. I'm literally talking about it's crazy. But I do I'm obsessed. I do want to say with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie being confirmed, I believe I saw some set photos that were released. And if anyone has watched Rebels, they were showing pictures of the character Zeb, which I believe makes him the the fourth Rebels character to now be in live action. So very cool.
Oh,
no.
Cool.
Fifth, right? Hang on. Let me do
You're
the math.
the nerd over here. I'm just kind of nerdy about Star Wars. I'm just excited that I have Darth Vader holding a cat behind me.
like 4 or 5. So it's very cool. So
very cool.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Tia. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover in the world of pop culture?
Well, again, I wanted to say that I spoke to Katee Sackhoff today.
Yeah.
That interview is not out just yet because I just did it today, but she was talking about, she plays, she voices Silk Spectre on Watchmen Chapter 1. That is out already, and the second part will be coming out later on this year. I think... I don't know if there's any. We covered on the KJ Today show is a lot of fun. Obviously, we covered the ending of House of the Dragon season 2, and we did a lot of other cool things. So,
speaking of that, if you guys missed it, we had Tia gave a really very wonderful descriptive of one of her favorite scenes from House of the Dragon.
And he's like, and it's like the dragon's like, oh, you're a coward, and everything. It's like,
Tia, what was that when that dragon didn't like?
I'm not doing it again. You're not getting the clue. So after that, right? I said to Paulie, I was like, they picked on me tonight. Like,
oh, we're sorry.
No, and then I said what happened, and he's like, well, that's you. You always have to like act out what's happening.
It's true. And listen, we only do it because we love you.
And he's like, no, and it's like the dragon's like, oh, you're a coward, and every.
Okay, so if you haven't watched the latest episode of the Kind of Nerdy Girls, like that went on for like 20 minutes, and it turned into
such a thing
that there was a point, I don't even know what you were doing, and Katee thought you sounded like you were using a New Jersey accent to be a dragon. And so that is why Tia's name is Tia the Dragon from New Jersey.
Even though Tia herself is from New York.
That's okay, because I thanks to AI, I was able to create a book called Tia the Dragon from New Jersey. I mean, there's the cover of the upcoming book. He's holding a coffee because we had talked that night about how much Tia loves her coffee.
I didn't know that now Patrick is dying.
I love everything that's happening.
Wait.
Yes, go ahead, Tia, the dragon from New Jersey. Go on.
Wait. I'm gonna be right back. Hang on.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
Oh
While
my
she's
goodness.
doing that, So I literally had AI write a book about a dragon from New Jersey that loves coffee. It starts off, once upon a time in the bustling state of New Jersey,
Yeah.
there lived a dragon named Tia. Now, Tia was not your typical fire-breathing dragon. She had a unique obsession: coffee.
Wait, so I didn't know Patches was going to be on this call, right? Because I was going to do a gag that, like, the next time when we all like lifted up our cups and everything, I was going to get this one because he made a comment on how big my last one was.
Hang on, let's do that.
Oh my god.
The last time he was like, Tia, could that coffee cup be any bigger? So next time, I'll be like,
yes.
As a matter of
Yes,
fact,
they
yes, they can. Any further questions, Your Honor? No, thank you.
Oh
my
my
goodness.
gosh. So Tia, would it be okay if we publish this short story on Geek Vibes Nation that is Tia, the dragon from New Jersey?
Absolutely. I think personally the world needs to experience this.
I was looking into what it would take to just post it on Amazon, like free on Kindle. Right? I mean,
Oh god.
this lovely story. Every evening, Tia would fly to the nearest coffee shop in town and order the strongest espresso they had. She'd sit at a table, sipping her coffee and chatting with the baristas about the latest gossip in the dragon community.
I mean, it sounds like me.
I'm telling you.
Oh, my head's hurting. Quit.
I mean,
God.
go back and watch the Kind of Nerdy Girls latest
So
episode.
good.
And then, like, seriously, I think we've got a bestseller. Like, I need to figure
It
out.
was one of my favorite episodes ever. Oh my
I would
God.
be more than happy if you would allow me, Tia, to voice the audio version of the book.
You know what? I would listen to it. I would be in my car, just trying.
Because we all know KJ's sound effects are second to none. So I can't imagine the creative liberty she's
Huge
taken.
plot twist from the author of Raised by Cats behind the mic in the Meows. Now comes Tia, the dragon from New Jersey.
And it's
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm sorry, what was that, Tia?
no, not again.
Oh, this one's live. Oh, good. We're still clipping that.
If I was just a little bit better at graphics, I really wanted to add fire coming out of your mouth when you did that. Like,
And he's like, and it's like the dragon's like, oh, you're a coward, you know, and everything.
I wanted to make fire come out of your mouth there, but I'm not to that level yet.
So you just have to splice it with, as soon as I do that motion, then all of a sudden you cut literally to the scene from House of the Dragon with everyone.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, man, I've had way too much fun with the dragon from New Jersey.
I'm never going to get rid of this. This will always be my tag now.
I mean, I kind of want t-shirts made.
I do too. I feel
Right?
like this would be good as, like, you know, back in the day, you put like your textbooks, there was like a cover and everything, or like a folder. It'd be like that. It'd
Oh,
be good.
A nice back to school folder. Could we?
Oh, yeah.
Patches,
I'll
can
go
we
great
get,
my Trapper Keeper. Let's go.
listen, Patches, can we get Conquest Journals to do a whole line of Tia the Dragon from New Jersey journals and decals and notebooks?
Maybe a coloring book. Let's go.
I promise I'll negotiate a really nice licensing fee for the fine work that I've done.
It's like, come on, Conquest Journals.
Come on, license fan art. Who's not a fan of Tia, the dragon from New Jersey?
Everything about that picture.
Oh God,
Okay.
hits it right in the feels, doesn't it?
Yep.
And listen, I could not get the AI to put a coffee cup in the dragon's hand. So that's my fine work right there. The little coffee
Wow,
cup.
look at you, KJ. See,
I had
when you
to
said
do many different versions to get it to where it was like I need the dragon holding his hand up. I gotta put a coffee cup in there.
I appreciate your dedication to it.
I worked really hard on this. I know people have opinions on AI, but I want you to know that I actually did work really hard to get that book cover created. All right. All right. A couple of reminders. I've got to get the PopCon peeps, my list of attendees. So if you have not signed up, this is a last call. I'm going to get that list together on Thursday and send it out Friday. So if you are a Kind of Nerdy crew member and you want to go to PopCon Louisville for free, go to kjtodayshow.com and get signed up. Tomorrow, if you can, please, if you're watching this, I'll give you till noon on Thursday. I'm just setting a deadline. You have until noon on Thursday. And then Tia, the dragon from New Jersey, will come for you.
Or else.
If a lot of things start popping again, Tia and I will get back together. I mean, as long as you're willing, Tia, to do this, it's so much fun. And I do feel like when we get to the KJ Today show, so much has happened. And I'm like, we've got 9 minutes to talk about everything that's happened over the last month.
I mean, listen, it's like I'm in the press junkets again, waiting all this time just for 5 minutes. No, I'm joking.
Oh, so rude. And the next episode of the KJ Today show will be Wednesday, September 4th at 7:00. We always shoot for the first Wednesday of the month. So we hope that you have enjoyed us. Please make sure that you keep up with everything pop culture. geekvibesnation.com is always updating on the latest, especially if you're into the nerdy stuff like we are. They are your go-to place to keep up with all of the latest. And if you want to keep up with my celebrity interviews, I am doing my best to get them out on the podcast app as well. So I know some of you kind of like laxed on the podcast app because I did. But if you prefer to listen to things, I promise if you go search for KJ Today or Kind of Nerdy Girls on your podcast app, you've got a whole bunch of new content waiting for you. I've been trying to grow as a person and a podcaster. So please, I don't want to log in again and see that I had 4 downloads on my latest interview. Please make it 7. Thank you.
make it rain with the downloads, guys.
Right.
Come
it's
on.
Like, why aren't you listening to my podcast anymore? Oh, because I always forget to put it there. So yes, there's all kinds of new stuff waiting for you. And if you want to chat with all of the cool peeps in the Kind of Nerdy Network, our Facebook group is free and we're always having a good time. We've got a Kind of Nerdy Night In coming up on August 30th. So we will be doing that. So get ready for the Kind of Nerdy Night In, because that's literally just a big Zoom call full of nerds who get to chit chat. And it's Tia, you'd love it. It's total chaos, honestly. it's like the Kind of Nerdy Girls plus 20 people.
Oh my God.
It's a lot, but I love it. So lots of fun stuff coming up. Tia, how do we keep up with you if we want to follow you on the socials?
Follow me on the socials. I mean, listen, I'm not posting a lot these days, but you can definitely check me out on Twitter, X. It's TC_Stark, and that is my Twitter handle. That's my TikTok handle. That's my Instagram handle. So make sure that you check that out. Mostly, I would like to redirect people over to the Geek Vibes Nation YouTube page, because I have been trying to post more things. Certainly have these interviews coming up. But, I try sometimes to post a TikTok or two, like, out in my about. So
Oh, yeah.
I try.
And I've been trying to post more reels from the show. So, if you want to just share those, then it's like, oh, look at all the content Tia's posting. Really, I'm doing all the work, Tia.
If I could say it, KJ, I feel like as I get older, the allure of social media, at least the posting part, is kind of like moving away from me.
Mhm.
I just like scrolling now, but
As long as you're being social, I mean, honestly, comment on some things,
Yep.
participate in the social part. That's my that's my request of everyone on social media. If you're gonna be on social media, at least be social. All right. Otherwise, what's the point?
KJ, you're the best at that. You got that line. You got the, what's it? If you're gonna kind of nerdy, be kind and everything.
Oh yeah, you can't be kind of nerdy without being kind.
I love it. I love it.
And you know what? On the next show, we will have returned from PopCon Louisville. So my booth is 555 at PopCon Louisville. If you want to stop by the KJ Today booth. And, I'll try to get some fun interviews from the guests and people there. And since you can't go to PopCon, Tia, and I know a lot of people can't make the trip to Louisville, I will try on the next KJ Today show to bring PopCon to you. And of course, I will be very active on the social medias. If you want to follow me, if you go to kjonsocial.com, it'll give you a link tree that you can literally just pick which social media accounts you want to follow. So instead of shouting out everything, just go kjonsocial.com and you'll find all the stuff and things. All right, Tia, go fly away, you wonderful dragon, to your favorite coffee shop. Thanks for checking in from New York.
Thank you, KJ. Thank you again. I just picture like the end of the StreamYard, the mass has ended, go in peace and everything. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Will you stay on for just a second? We can have a post-show meeting.
No.
You're in trouble. I'm gonna go through all the things you did.
D-minuses everywhere.
That sounded bad. No, I just want to chat with you and see your
Yes.
face, because usually we're just texting. Okay. Tia and I are gonna talk some tea.
Not coffee, tea.
We'll see you next time on What's Poppin', and keep up with everything that's What's Poppin' on the KJ Today YouTube. Thank you. Good night.